What's up, everybody, and welcome to my TNA Impact Wrestling review. A lot of things happened on your show tonight, or pretty much the whole concept of tonight's show was Feast or Fired. Now, in regard to this whole thing, which I'm surprised they still doing this every year now. Well, I guess you should say Scott D'Amore. That looks like he's the one that keeps bringing this concept back. Yeah, I know people have said in the past it was almost like a wannabe Money in the Bank like type of contract thing. Sometimes in the past they look cool when cashing them in this company, but it still doesn't, kind of weird sometimes with this whole concept because, why would you fire somebody kind of due to, because they picked the wrong case, they get automatically fired then because of that. That's the thing I've never understood with these feast or fire things. So and then again, they made it different at one point in time, if I remember. They actually had, and this is probably over a year or two ago, it was called Race for the Case when there was a world title, X Division, tag team, and I believe the Grand Championship was created at the time. So, yeah, they actually got rid of Feast or Fire at a point, but they still kept that concept. But I remember it was either in the year 2016 or early last year. I think it was early last year. It was called Race for the Case. So I don't know why we need to bring Feast or Fired back. And by the way, when the show opened, I guess this is the last time you will literally see Jeremy Borash here, which I'm surprised they actually showed any other clips with him because you see how they changed the commentary. And, they have Sanjay Dutt now and Josh Matthews since they got rid of JB. So we already know where Jeremy Borash is at, pretty much, in WWE. So I believe this was the final time you'll see him here, if you ask me. I'm just taking a guess, but as he talked with a lot of the competitors that were standing back for Feast or Fired, EC3, Trevor Lee, Kelly Conley, KM, Tyrus Moose, Hakeem Zayn, Rahit Raju, Petey Williams, which I didn't even know he was there during this time, and Taiji Ishimori. But as we kicked off the show, it was Sami Callihan versus Falaba. Not much to say from here. It was a pretty good match. Falaba is over with the crowd. I will give him that with that ba thing. And in the end of this match, Bob was trying to get back to a Samoan drop, but Callahan pretty much slid under him when he was going under the ropes, pretty much over the turnbuckle, under the ropes, and he pretty much hit him with a Samoan drop. Even though they tried to say it was a Death Valley driver, it was more of a Samoan drop. He hit it as good as he could, but it didn't connect all the way. It was Samoan drop. Callahan OVE started beating up, followed by him, and then we'll do that baseball, bat spot with the chair there, which pretty much, excuse me, damn near killed Eddie Edwards, but Eddie Edwards came out and with a lead pipe. I believe someone said that Eddie Edwards actually showed back kind of like the day or two after this whole, him being hit in the face with a real baseball bat, and somehow, some way, he's still up and going. Yeah, he's got a bad black eye, and I know he suffered some orbital fracture, but he must be really that tough to to actually show back up literally a day later. So you got to give him credit for coming right back, Eddie Edwards. And I know they've been trying to make this feud going in kayfabe, of course. As Sami Callihan's really been putting the whole heel work in, even making a t-shirt out of Eddie Edwards' face of him getting hit with the bat. I know someone got mad. I've already seen some comments, and they had a TMZ thing. I know Jim Cornette and I think Cassius Ohno had said something about it. Yeah, I've already said about the spot, it was stupid, but at least I guess they're trying to make the most of it, and Eddie Edwards fine with this, because at the end of the day, that whole spot was reckless and it was dumb to do. But as they talked about Callahan, they pretty much kind of went to a one of the GWN matches, which was kind of to the point with tonight's match for the Feast or Fire. And even though it was edited, of course, I don't know what years this had to be, like, what, 09, maybe, well, 09 or 08, I believe, because there were people in that company that were not there anymore, but people like Christopher Daniels as Curry Man, and who else, Xavier Woods, or used to be known as Consequences, Creed, Black Machismo, Jay Lethal. I like Black Machismo, even though it was a comedy gimmick. He could do a hell of a Macho Man Randy Savage impression, and he does a damn great Ric Flair impression. We all know what Jay Lethal can do. He's killing in Ring of Honor right now. There's a lot of people. The Machine Guns was there. Billy Gunn. There's a lot of people. They pretty much showed Hernandez, Homicide, and Machismo, and Curry Man getting the cases. So it had to do with what was going on with Feast of Fire. Next was probably one of the best segments, a very interesting segment, and I heard a lot of positive about it too lately. And this was actually really good. With Mackenzie Mitchell was about to pretty much have a sit down interview with Austin Aries, because they're actually going to talk about his new book about being a vegan and everything. But El Patron walked in and wanted to talk to Austin Aries, and Mitchell pretty much just offered a seat. El Patron to welcome Aries to Impact Wrestling and says, I never lost the title, but at least we have a real world champion. That's not a paper champion like Eli Drake. And he had a surprise for Austin Aries, and he brought in a guy which had some wine, and it was a plate there. Aries says, I like red wine, but El Patron brought out this meat, which was, I think it was steak, I believe. And Aries says he didn't really want it, and as El Patron ate some, Austin Aries put out a banana, potassium and everything. And El Patron, said, my country, respect and everything. And El Patron, if he said, are you going to be rude and not eat the food he was offering him? But, Austin Aries says, no, I'm good. I don't want the meat. And El Patron, as he ate the meat, Aries kept eating the banana. And then he pretty much picked up the meat and was bringing it to Austin Aries, the whole slab, and then Austin Aries slapped it out of his hand. El Patron backed down, says, hey, I didn't know about the vegan stuff. And he says, I'll buy one of your books. I'll buy multiple books, but Austin says, here's the book right here. He said he didn't need El Patron's money. And he says, because I'm a champion now. You remember what that's like, right? El Patron pretty much took the book and looked pissed and left this. Austin Aries pretty much poured himself a glass of wine, and then after that, I thought it was a great segment. It was a very interesting segment. I don't know where El Patron. I'm glad El Patron's doing something interesting ever since they brought him into TNA, because I sure wasn't really a fan of him as a face as much. Which he did good, but we all saw what happened, why he even lost the belt in the begin with. So at least they kind of established El Patron as being a heel right here. And you have to heel, with the meat, and the face is a vegan and everything, but El Patron's being a prick most of the time, and Aries kind of, he saw what was going on. But I actually did like this segment. It was interesting. It was different. I noticed just the early build up to it right now, but let's see where this goes when Redemption comes, which they pretty much announced. Their pay-per-view, I believe, will be on April the 22nd, their legit pay-per-view, so we'll see how this kind of falls into play. Kiera Hogan was talking to Allie in the background, winning the Knockouts Championship, until Braxton Sutter tried to come in and talk, but Allie says, I just need some time. Congo Kong and Jimmy Jacobs came out. Jimmy Jacobs came and said, I'm not a bad guy, but he said a lot of words, and he talked about Joseph Park not bringing out Abyss. And he wanted Abyss, as the fans did chant him Abyss for it. Next thing you know, Father James Mitchell returned. Haven't really seen him since Slammiversary with the whole, Joseph Park and Jeremy Borash versus Scott Steiner and Josh Matthews match. We haven't seen Father James Mitchell in a minute. As he introduced himself to Jimmy Jacobs, he liked what he was doing and what was going on. And he says, you have a monster of your own, and I've admired you, he said. And I would take your monster too, but I've had my monster also. And he's seen a lot of impressive beasts over the decade, and this is another one that he's very impressed with. As James Mitchell said, I sold my soul for intent purposes to make my son the world's heavyweight champion. But and he's left a lot of broken bodies and destruction of Impact. But he says, you don't know what you brought on, he says. You don't know what Abyss has done to people. And you are going to pay the piper too, both of you guys. and I watched you try to call up Abyss. You beat him, scares grandmother, destroy park offices, beat up his cousin, but this is where it stops, because he could have done anything, but he didn't. But you're poking the wrong bear, as he said. But Jacob says, I am the bear, pretty much. And Mitchell said he didn't come out and humiliate him, but you've awakened the giant known as Abyss, his weapon of mass destruction. As he pretty much says, click, doomsday. Abyss pretty much came to the ring, cleared the ring, and knocked out Congo Kong on his feet. As James Mitchell said, you got tickets to Monsters Ball next week. So Abyss is going to go against Congo Kong. It was great to see James Mitchell again. We haven't seen him. Honestly, there was 2 times we've seen him, really. One was Slammiversary. The other one was Bound for Glory, but he only showed up in like one video package with Grado and stuff. He only showed up in one video package, and a lot of people had to go to Canada. They weren't all going to Canada and everything, so we just had to deal with what it was right here. So it was good to see him back after those other 2 times. Since he didn't show up for the Grado match. But next thing you know, Rosemary versus Taya. A very great video package before the match, and actually really good match too. But it's pretty much, it was a double count out. This was a really good match. It's too early in the feud right now to finish this in a clean way, so it was logical to have a double count out. Pretty much, they fought up to the stage as Taya hit the Road to Valhalla on the stage and pretty much left Rosemary there. So this feud continues, and they had a really good match out there together. So we'll see how this continues on. Eli Drake was on the phone in the back and wondering where Chris Adonis was, and Drake was disappointed. What was going to happen, because he was supposed to be in the Feast of Fire thing. He got a 25% chance of getting fired and everything, but since Chris Adonis didn't want to do it, Drake says, he pretty much fired himself and just threw the phone. So I guess this was a way of writing him out of the show, Chris Adonis, because there were reports at the time where he had already left the taping, because he was only there for a minute, but then he just left after that. They didn't really, I guess, film any way to get him out of there, so I guess they wrote him out of the show by having Eli Drake pretty much fire him. So that's the last time we'll see of Chris Adonis since they got rid of him. Next thing you know, they talked about Bobby Lashley and Brian Cage. Cage was in the bleachers eating some food, so Bobby Lashley said, I didn't need your help, as they stood face to face at each other. And he told him, I'm not go against you in the ring. So I'm looking forward to the match, since it's 2 big giant dudes kicking the crap out of each other. So I am looking forward to Bobby Lashley versus Brian Cage. It's actually an interesting match. I believe people are I don't know what Bobby Lashley is doing out nowadays. Everybody's already keeping rumors he's in the WWE, but I'm not really sure right now. But hey, we'll find out and see. But like I said, just enjoy Bobby Lashley on this show. He's on here. Next was an LAX video. LAX was in the clubhouse playing some dominoes. Santana and Ortiz and Conan. Next thing you know, Homicide is back. Shows up with a briefcase. That's supposed to be having 10 stacks, but it was too short. And then Homicide says, I would never screw you over as long as we known each other. But Conan says, you can't be trusted around with this much money. It's always something missing around. Santana then pretty much, won the dominoes game right there. There's Conan called him a cheater. But he says, what we're going to do? We're going to watch this Feast of Fire match and see which 2, jabronis here face us next for the tag titles. And then after that, we're going to go to the club and we're going to get lit as fuck. So, love LAX segments. Still brings that Lucha Underground feel to it. I know they got this partnership with Lucha Underground and everything. I would love to see what Lucha Underground... I would love to see LAX and Lucha Underground, see how they put that up, too. I would love to see that go down. That would actually be pretty cool to see. Matt Sydal came out with the X Division and Grand Championship since he was a double champion. And he wanted to bring out his spirit guide as he opened his third eye. Next thing you know, Sunday was wondering where Josh Matthews was going. Josh Matthews was a spirit guide, I guess. And as there was a Fire Josh chant, Josh Matthews said, I try to enlighten viewers every week and talk about Doug's a double champion, as Doug called them both douchebags, double douchebags and everything. People chanted delete at them. Some people did either that they got heat or it was a bad segment, but this was kind of weird. Josh Matthews gives Seidel this present, which is like a spirit animal mask or something, and I guess he had Seidel had a gift for him. He gave him the Grand Championship, so now Josh Matthews is the Grand Champion now. I don't know where this goes, and I guess some people think that Josh Matthews is now out of the he's out of the broadcast table, and now he's gonna be, I don't know, well, he's not gonna be in the broadcast table, but he's gonna be more into being a manager. Pretty much, that's going to be the thing with him. He's going to be a manager for Matt Seidel. I don't know how far this goes or where this goes with these two, but I guess we'll find out and see. It was time for the Feast or Fired match. I've already said what I had to say about explaining Feast or Fired, but it's not bad saying the match was bad, and the people that get cheered was the ones people wanted to see win. There's not much to say about this match other than an all-out brawl. Some funny spots here and there. Going at it. Pretty much Petey Williams was able to get the first case. Moose was able to take down the second. EC3, I kind of like that he was going to jump out of the ring doing a suicide dive when some others did it, but he was like, nope, he tried to get it. But Tyrus tried to stop him and some others. But Tyrus got the grab on. EC3 hit him in the nuts, and he grabbed the briefcase himself, and he hit Tyrus with it, and he just kind of shrugged his shoulders at it too. I actually should have said something about EC3's promo in the back too. Say he need to grab, which would be the catalyst of his future. He spoke of riches, power, fame, and glory. He would be champion, and stands for his EC3, which we all know where that kind of message is going here, people, and we all know where EC3 is at now. And with EC3 getting that case, and I'll get to that in a second after he got the case. Eli Drake just goes on pretty much on fire then, going against Tyrus. Just he got hit, but he kept getting up after Tyrus's moves, no selling until he was knocked down. But then when he pretty much hit a whole bunch of gravy trains on people from Ishimori and Raju, I'm sorry if I get his name wrong. So I kind of get it wrong, but he hit a whole bunch of crazy gravy trains even on KM. But the next thing and I have to say, this was a cool spot to see when pretty much Trevor Lee was trying to get a case up top. Eli Drake literally runs and just does this high ass jump on top of the ropes, like looked cool as hell, and hit pretty much a German suplex off the top. Even with some of Trevor Lee's hair on him, he got the case and was out of there. So it was really cool, but they weren't even going to reveal the cases tonight. They were going to wait till next week to do it. Like I say, people cheer for this stuff and everything of who gets the cases, but they should really fear who's going to get fired the next week. And I look at who won these cases, especially EC3. I do kind of believe we know where all of this is heading with EC3. I tried to stay away from spoilers when all of this was happening, but I think this case pretty much is now the writing on the wall. I believe next week will probably be the last time you see EC3 on TV in this company with Impact, because we know Moose and Petey Williams and Eli Drake. I don't know what type of title shots they're gonna get. I feel like Petey's gonna get the world title shot. I don't want to see him go back for the X division. Moose needs a title shot. It's just not the X division or the Grand Champion. He just needs a title shot. He needs something. Eli Drake, he was the world champion at a point in time. I wouldn't be surprised if he had got the world title case again. At least he gets something different. He goes for the tag titles, or he does get the world championship again. I like Eli Drake. I just felt like they should have booked him better than being a chicken shit heel. And stuff. But that's what I believe. That's just a quick little thing on who I think it's going to happen with those cases, and we'll see where it goes. But as EC3 won. Like I said, I believe this is the writing on the wall. I believe he will be done after this. We already know he's in NXT. We already know he's in WWE right now, so I don't know if he debuted already in WWE. He may have been at the tapings. I don't know if it's on the NXT show, but I think it's probably been on the tapings already. They'll be probably leaving into Takeover also. So like I said, enjoy EC3 while you still got him on Impact for this couple times that I left. Because I don't know what his theme song's going to be like anymore. I don't know. I'm just still surprised they let him be EC3 in WWE. I'm really surprised at that. But he did trademark his name. We're just going to go EC3. We're not really going to say Ethan Carter III because we know where that stems to. So, yeah. So we'll see where a lot of this goes next week on the show. But I do really believe this will be the final time you will see EC3 on Impact next week, in my opinion. But we'll see how many other tapings they got left for this. So yeah, it's just it is a shame though. I believe it is a lot of some blame on Jeff Jarrett because it's a shame when they came in with this new regime. You didn't have a plan for EC3, but you made him the grand champion, but you couldn't get him back towards the world title picture. I would have loved it if he became an EC3 time world heavyweight champion. I'm sorry if I messed that up for some reason, but I would have loved if he did that and became the world champion again. So yeah, but hey, like I said, they really did kind of mess that up and let him go because that was one of their top stars, a talent star that they built. EC3 was a star they actually built. I didn't even know he was Derek Bateman when he first stepped into the company. It took me a while for that to figure out, but they built him up. He was undefeated. He was big. I didn't like him at first, but he got bigger over time and in better feuds. Like I said, being the world champion 2 times. I would have loved it if he was the world champion again. This was a very big main event player they had there. And they let him go, which was dumb. And that could be said, I believe, for, was it Bobby Lashley too? And that guy really did great when he was the world champion also. But I'll save more of that for probably next week. But I just had to get on that little EC3 rant. But like I said, show was okay here and there. I did like the Austin Aries and El Patron segment. It was very interesting. So that was really good. I would say check out this review. So check out the show. So yeah. But I'm out of here. I will see you guys later. Peace out. It was a good thing they added that Moolah Battle Royale too. So yeah. So peace. And comment and subscribe.